Fine. So VPC. So what is VPC? Virtual Private Cloud. Right. So as we had discussed earlier, it's a logically isolated network. Logically isolated network. Fine. So by default, we get one account per region. Per account per region, one VPC. That we discussed. And there is something called VPC peering that also we'll discuss. So if I have one VPC in one account and I have another VPC in another account, so there can be discussion about VPC peering. And VPC also allows us to create internet gateway. So that is something we will see, right? So we'll try to create internet gateway and other things. Even this VPC, if you create, it will be free of cost, and even internet gateway is also free. So VPC can allow for that, right? So by default, I think the soft limit is about 5 VPC per region. Then you can raise a ticket to the Amazon help desk and they can help, right? They can increase the whatever soft limit is there, right? Because things are changing pretty fast, right? So we can check it. Now, say like when you are creating a VPC, say like we have Ohio region. So in Ohio region, you are creating a VPC. So you have one VPC. You created one VPC that is say like 10.0.0.0/16. Now by default you got some VPC and now you are trying to create another VPC. So say like you create one more VPC and you try to give range like 10.0.0.0/ say like 16 only you want to give, or maybe you want to give say like here 24, right? So just understand that this 0.0.0/16 and this whatever this 24, so this 24 is falling in the same range, right? So whatever IPs we have assigned here, whatever IP range, and whatever we are assigning, say like this is VPC1, this is 2. So we are assigning some another, we are assigning the range which is a particular subset of the what IP address range we are giving in VPC1, right? So this is possible. This is possible how? Because this is a separate VPC, right? This is a separate VPC, right? So you can give same IP range. Here also you can give 0.0.0/16 you can give. However, we discussed a term, right? VPC peering. I introduced that term. So VPC peering is not possible here. So we'll discuss about VPC peering, right? So if you just give the same range, that VPC peering will not happen. Okay, but this is possible here. So there is a concept of CIDR. You heard anybody CIDR? CIDR notation. Something like CIDR notation. So that is CIDR is classless interdomain routing. Classless interdomain routing. Right. So how we are writing, no? 10.0.0.0/16/24. Earlier, say like we used to write, no, in subnet mask. Vikas, you may be familiar with subnet mask.
Yeah, Harish.
Right. So class C, you might be giving 255.255.255.0. And now here we are defining with the /24, the same thing, right? But this is no CIDR is allowing to further divide the private network, right? So this is no, this is better. So now we will see how we can do this. Let us. So once we have, we will just create a VPC. So initially it will be free of cost, right? Based on the usage. Without anything under that VPC, say like you have no resources, you have no subnet, you have no instance or something. So even if they are giving it for free, so that will make no sense, right?
Okay.
Without anything in that VPC, it will be of no use, right? So just VPC we created. So now first, after creation of VPC, we will create the subnet. So we can have, say like for example, we have 3 availability zones in our VPC, right? Say like US is 2A, 2B, 2C, right? So there is, we discussed about one-to-one mapping between subnet and availability zone, right? So we have like our VPC we define as IP address range of 10.0.0.0/16, right? So this is a big range. So in this range, we have to create the subnet. Right, so we can create a subnet here. So we can give some IP range like 10.0.0.0/24. Right, we can create subnet here. New subnet. We can give 10.0.0.0/. Can we give again same thing? Apeksha?
The third one we have to increment.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can change this. So because already no 10.0.0.0, so that comes to 32-bit minus 24, right? So here it comes to 2 raised to 8. 2 raised to 8 is about
256.
256. Okay, so 256 IPs will be taken. So IPs started from 10.0.0.0 until 10.0.0.255. So this IP will be taken. Then we have no choice other than increasing this one. So we can make it 1 to utilize the next IP address. So we have to make it like this, and then /24 we can give.
24.
Another subnet. Similarly, we have to make it 10.0. We can make it 2, 3, whatever, but just 1 and 0 has been taken. So I'll say like 2.0/24.
24.
Right. So concept here is right. So in the total bit of 32, we subtract this routing prefix. So that is 16. So it comes to 16. And then total number of hosts we have to calculate. Total
2, 16.
Yeah, 2 raised to
16.
So that comes to some 65,000
65K.
something plus, more than that, right? So 5 IP addresses will be reserved by Amazon, right? Remaining will be useful for you. So this is for entire VPC. So for entire VPC, you got 65,000 plus IP addresses. So those 65,000 plus IP addresses you can divide among these 3 availability zones. So if you need more than that 256 IPs, right? So you have to decrease this routing prefix. So this will be, say, like if you make it 20, right? So then calculation will be here in place of 24. You have to do how much?
32 minus 20.
Let me do here. Let me rub it. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So in place of 32, you have to do 20, right?
20.
Minus 20. So how much it becomes? 2 raised to
12.
12. And 2 raised to 12 would be how much? We can do some calculation. Will be there. See, 2 raised to 12. So we have this x raised to y now. So we're using this. We can do. So first, let it be clear. So I said 2 raised to 12. 4096. See, it comes to 4096. Now 4096 comes, and from this 4096 we have to minus 5, that will be taken by Amazon. So 4091 will be available for your availability zone. So if you just make it 20, right? So then 4096 IPs will be gone. So what will be the next IP here? Who can tell? Will it be 1 here? Will it be like this? Will it be like this? Possible? Tell me, think and tell.
Yeah, that is possible.
No, that's wrong. See, 1.0 is also taken, no, now. See, because what happened initially when it was 24, that time it came 256 only, right? So 256 IP was fulfilled with this 0 only.
Yeah.
Now that 255 number has increased to 4096. Now, first IP in this case, when you have 10.0.0.0/20, right? The first IP is 10.0.0.0. Second IP is 10.0.0.1. Like that. What is the last IP? Can you think and tell me? Anyone? What is the calculation here?
Yeah, it's 10.0.0.4091. I mean, with 5 taken back by AWS.
So it last digit will be how much? 40, 10.0.0.
Theoretically, it's 4095, but if AWS takes back 5, then it's 4091.
Yeah, but have you seen IP address like this?
No.
So this will be 0 to 255 only, right?
Yeah.
Now what will happen?
Okay.
Up to this you are correct. You are thinking in the very right direction, because now what you have to do, you have to keep only up to 255 here, remaining you have to push here.
Transfer it there, correct.
Now how? So next will be 10.0.1, right? dot 0. Correct? Then
Yeah.
1.1. Correct?
Yeah.
Then continuously it will go till 255 again, right?
Again.
Okay.
So last IP here will be this much, 10, 0, 1, 255. Then like that, then it will be 10, 0, 2 dot 255
255.
from 0. Then again for 3 it will be 0 to 255, correct?
255.
Like that it will go, right? And the time when it reaches somewhere where 4096 IP addresses are finished, then the next IP address will come.
Yeah.
Now, who can do that calculation? Maybe you can use calculator also. Tell me. So, from 1 for 1 to 55 will be taken, right? For 1.0 to 56 will be taken actually, correct? For one series, 256 will be taken. So first 10.0.0.0 255. So it will be 260, 256. Now for 1, for 2, like that, for 3, for 4, 5, 6, 7, like that it will happen. 255, 255, 256, sorry, 256, 256 will be happening. Now,
16.
so how do you calculate? 4096, you just try to divide by this number. Think and tell.
Yeah.
Right.
It's coming up to 16. So it would be 10.0.16.255.
10.0.0.
16.255.
16. Okay, so you multiplied 16 with 256.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, mind blowing. Now that calculation you have done correctly. Now it comes to 16, right? Now 1 for 0 also it is there, right? You remember? It started with 0.
Yeah.
So will it be 16 or less? Think and tell. See, first thing was.
No, it will be 15.255.
Correct. Yeah. Because first 255 was taken for 0, 256. Yeah. Next 256 taken for 1. This third octet we are talking about. Then second one taken again like 256. Like that it happened. So 256 into 256, like that it happened, right? So you are starting with 0. So your number came 16. So it will be 0 to 15 only, right?
Correct.
So for 10.0.0, 10.0.1, 10.0.2, so like that it will go to 15. Everyone with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then it will be 0, right? And again up to 255 it will be finished.
Yeah.
So that 15.255 will be the last IP address of this particular CIDR. 10.0.15.0, instead of this 0, it will be 255. This will be the last IP address consumed, right, by this particular subnet. Then what will be the first one, next one, that will be 10.0.1 dot, sorry, 10.0 dot, sorry, 16, right? Dot
Yeah. 0.
Everyone here? Everyone understanding?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the counting will begin from this 16, right? And it will go up to what number? Another 16?
Mm-hmm.
Starting from 16, total 16 or less. Tell me. Apeksha.
I'm really getting confused.
Getting confused?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try to explain it one more time. Let it go. I'll just take up a fresh page and then I'll try to explain it. So, what I say here, you have the total, what was the range? 10.0.0.0/16. This was assigned to my VPC, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Now, this we want to divide among our availability zones, right? Where we have one-to-one mapping with our subnet, right? So say like we have 3 availability zones, then we'll create 3 subnets, right? Those 3 subnets will be part of our VPC,
VPC.
right? Now,
Yes.
so this, when you do calculation 10.00016, so this will be calculated as 2⁻16.
Yeah.
See, I was telling you 65,000 plus. So this will come as 65. How much it was? 536.
Okay.
These many IP addresses. These many IP addresses are there. This you can divide among the different
3
subnets.
Subnets.
Okay. So how can you name it? Say like, if you want to give, how many hosts do you want? So say like if you want maybe around 16,000 hosts or something, or you want only 256 hosts or something. So depends. So how much you want, based on that, this routing prefix is there, right? So this you need to change. This routing prefix, this will decide how many IP addresses will be available for your subnet, right? So now say like for example, if you choose 10.0.0.0/20, right?
Yeah.
For this subnet. This is the CIDR range that you have selected. Now, what you can give to subnet number 2, right? For that, you need to calculate what is the first IP address here and what is the last IP address here, right? So for subnet 1, we do the calculation, right? So how to calculate? So what we will do here, we have total of 32 gates in our IP address. 8888. 8 into 4, 32.
Yes.
Right? Now,
Correct.
this is taking 16 as a routing prefix. That means we need to minus that, and the final thing comes as 16, right? So number of
2 power
hosts,
6.
number of hosts calculated here, right, will be 2 raised
2
to
power 6,
16.
16.
When you do this calculation, 2 raised to 16, sorry, yeah, when you do calculations 2 raised to 16, no, we chose 20, right? Sorry.
20, 20.
Yeah,
32 minus 20.
yeah. So tell me how much it comes to 12.
12.
So now it will be, number of hosts will be how much?
2 to the power of 12.
2 raised to 12, that comes as
Uh,
4096.
4096. 4096. Yes.
Right? So now that 4096 IP addresses will be consumed here. 4096 IP addresses out of how much? 65,536.
36. Yes.
This many will be consumed.
Hmm.
So it's just like you have some numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like that. Now this all consumed. So what will be the next number?
5.
Correct? So like that only, calculation is not this simple, but it is simple only. How you have to think is, see this 10.0, this thing is not going to change because they have restricted here as 16 as the prefix. So only these two bits, this one and this one, will be changed. This much only changed because it is already 16 bit. So this is 8, this 8 is gone. Now this 8 will be 16. So
Yes.
we have option to change these two, right? And actually one calculation was done by Vikas. So he calculated, right? So he did a calculation where it came as 2 raised to 16 equal to 65,536 comes, right?
Yes.
So this is total thing, and out of the total, what we have to do is we can make, so total 6, how this much coming? 65,536, how it is coming? Because of this 16.
That's 16. Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
So when we are doing a minus from 32 to 16, that 6,536 comes, which is 2 raised to 16 in fact. But in our case, we have this as 12.
12.
Which is 4096. Now, what is the first IP address taken by subnet 1? That is 0.0.0.0. Second IP address will be 0.1. Right? 10.0.0.1.
1.
The third IP address.
10.0.0.2.
Correct? Like that, you have to count. Continue to count. So, what can be the maximum here? 255 only.
255. Yes.
You cannot take more than that. Now, how it is calculated? Now you have another bit. So this can take 0 to 255. This can also take, this place also can take 0 to 255 only. Now this 0 can change to 1. This can change to 2. This can change to 3, like that. So this 0 will change, but whenever this 0 is changing, right? For 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, right? How many total IPs were possible? Starting from 0 to 255 only, right?
Yes.
So total comes as 256. 10.0.0.0, 10.0.0.1, final was
256, 255.
255 here, right? So this became how many? Starting from 0 to 256, this became 256 total,
256.
right?
Yes.
Now this number changed to 1. So for 1 also, it will start with 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, like that it will start. So how many total will come? 256.
6.
For 2.0 to 255 again, it will have 256 IPs, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So for 0 dot something, we got 256 IPs. For 1 dot whatever, we got 256 total. For 2 dot, no, up to 255, it came 256. Like that, you will have 256, then 256, then 256. Then like that, you will keep on having 256. How many times you should have 256 that the result comes to 4096? Because that is what is the total number of hosts, correct? So if you keep on adding 256, the result should be 4096, right? So that means we can divide this 4096 with 256, right? Possible? Same thing,
Yeah.
no? Keep on adding. Instead of that, you just divide it, then you'll come to know how many 256 are there.
16.
So it comes to 16.
16.
Right? So
Yes.
16 times this has to come. 16 groups will be made, right? So, but it is starting from 0, right?
Yes.
So last one will be 15 only. Then 16 count will be over.
Yeah.
So the last IP address is 15.255,
255.
right? So now total comes to 4096.
96.
Now the next subnet, whatever was there, that will take the next IP address, right? So what will the next IP address after this? 55 is full. This 15 can increase, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this will be 10.0.16.0.
0.
Okay, clear? So this
Yes.
/20. So another subnet will take 10.0.16.0/20.
20.
Like that, what will be the third one? So what was this? 10.0.16.0/20. Now what will be the third one? 10.0. What? Just add, no, add, what is the difference between these two? That much you add.
32. 32. Okay.
Correct, no? So it will be, first one will be what? 16, up to 15 it was full, started with 16, right?
16.
Now from 16 to 31 will be full here.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Correct.
Then with 4096 IPs, now it will start with 32 only. See, 16 to 31 is how much? Including 16.
15.
5 here. See, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 5 are there, right? And then 11. Total 16. So, here total 16 are there. So now it will come to 32. Fine. Any doubt here? No, right?
No, Harish. Now it's clear.
Okay, perfect. So this is
Thank
important,
you.
right? Not from the exam point of view, just for general understanding of the architecture. So subnetting is clear. So what was main point here was there is one-to-one mapping between subnet and the availability zone. One-to-one mapping is there, right? So that is important. Now after this, what we discussed? We looked at the availability zone. Per tier availability zone we have not looked, right?
No.
I think This only we have discussed, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
let's look at three-tier architecture. Okay. So one we see like load balancing here. Second one we keep as application tier. Third one you see database tier. Making sense? Three-tier architecture. Did we discuss?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so this three-tier architecture, what we can do, we can have, no, in the first tier, we can have ELB subnet, right? So ELB subnet. You can have ELB subnet.
This one we saw, I think, last. The architecture we saw, right?
I think I had explained it.
Oh yeah, the architecture diagram. Yeah, we had seen.
Okay, perfect. So it is like per tier, per availability zone we had seen, right? So here, no, what happens here is maybe again I can draw, right? So you just see application is there in EC2, right? Here also you have application running in EC2, right? Here also you have application running in EC2. Okay. Now you have database tier, right?
Yeah.
You have database running here, right? And this is your complete VPC where this is your availability
Zone.
zone. So now here if you see like it is 2A, 2B, 2C like that, right? So what is happening here? Subnet is, and this is your VPC. So subnet is giving you the isolation, right?
Mm.
Now, what is the benefit of this availability zones? We are duplicating things, right? What is the purpose? For the purpose of high availability, right? So we are duplicating it for the purpose of high availability, right? First thing is we are subnetting it for isolation to be more secure, right? To be more fault tolerant, right? And we are creating this. First we are breaking it down, and then we are duplicating it, right, across different availability zones, so that we are having what? Better availability. Okay. So, and then again you can give the access based on the ports. So, or based on certain ports, you can allow access from here to there, there to here, right? So all those rules, regulations you can put there, right? So here the most important benefit is like that isolation is really useful. Subnet main concept is that only, and then you are creating the duplicates there across the higher region, so that you have the high availability. And if you are implementing auto scaling and other concepts, then you have the fault tolerance, right? Now comes very important thing, that is called routing, right? So there is a concept of routing, right? So okay, good. This is first. So till now we have discussed VPC, and then we have divided it into subnets, right? Now, each subnet must be associated with a route table. Okay, so each subnet must be associated with a route table. So what does routing define? Where can traffic flow to? So what does it define? Where can traffic
Flow to.
flow to? Where can traffic flow to? So that is defined by routing, right? So say like you have your VPC and in your VPC I was discussing about there is like something called internet gateway. I just number it IG1. So that is
Internet gateway.
internet gateway. Okay, so you have internet gateway here configured, right? And this is your what? VPC. Same VPC that we were creating, no? VPC with the 10.0.0.0/16. This one. So just think of one particular subnet. I'm not drawing all the subnets. So just think of one particular subnet here. Right. So you have some EC2 here, right? And this subnet is say like 10.0.0.0/24, right? How many IP addresses will be there? 250?
256.
Right? Now this subnet, you have EC2 instance here, right? You have public IP, you have that routing table defined, right? The routing table I have mentioned like destination, target, I have mentioned like 10.0.0.0/16 local, and here I have mentioned like 0.0.0.0/0, and I have mentioned IG1. Okay, so what happens, right? So internally for local, this is the destination, so that is the CIDR for entire VPC. So locally, right, this is the target for the traffic, right? But for IGW, IC1 I have mentioned. So IC1, what it is? This one, 0.0.0.0.0. Any. You saw somewhere whenever you were doing anywhere this like this, it was coming in security group.
Yes.
Whenever you chose anywhere inbound rule, then 0.0.0/0 was coming, right? So
Yes.
from anywhere to anywhere, you are allowing like that. So what we have mentioned for the internet gateway traffic, we have defined, right? Anywhere, right? So whatever request something is there, so that will be traffic will be going here, and you have internet, right? And that is connected to internet. Okay. Getting it? So what is the meaning of this routing? You're defining the route table, right? Right. So you are controlling, right? Controlling what traffic has to go where. So that much control you are having. So can I say that this is first line of defense, first line of security? Tell me. Because no other traffic can come, right? See, this one is public. This is public subnet. There is nothing like you create public subnet or something. You have just connected to internet and given the internet to this subnet. So this became public subnet. Any subnet you can make it like public subnet. So this became a public subnet. You might have heard about DMZ, right? DMZ network, demilitarized zone. So similar to that. So now what happens is you are giving internet connection here, right? And you are having some private subnet, say like, for example, now this private subnet requires internet, right? So it doesn't want to become a public subnet. It doesn't want to connect directly to no internet gateway. However, it can have some mechanism through which it can go to some NAT gateway, some NATing will happen, and through that NAT gateway it can go to internet. It can connect to internet for downloading, say like some patches, right? So that is also possible here. Internet gateway is free service, right? However, that what you call NAT gateway, that is chargeable. That will have some static IP. So we'll try to create and we'll see that. So that is fine, right? So now there is another concept after this routing that is called network ACL. You heard about ACL, access control list. Somewhere it will be, these terms will be utilized. Access control. So access control is like, you can have control over this. Yeah, you can make some rules, regulations, right? So we have VPC, we have subnet there, and in the subnet we have attached the routing table, right? The routing table will be working as first layer of defense, right? Because we are clearly mentioning that only these IP should be coming here, only those IP should be coming here. So like that we can define. So it gives us layer of security as well, apart from redirecting the traffic where the traffic has to move, right? So this is NACL, network access control list. Network access control list. So you can just understand like it's an optional software firewall. It's an optional software firewall, right? It controls traffic for each subnet. Controls traffic for each subnet. Okay. So when I say firewall, right, do you think like security group?
Yeah.
But how it is different?
Security group is only for your instance and firewall is for the whole network.
Yeah, so this network access control list is for subnet.
Okay, each subnet. Okay.
Yeah, so NACL is for subnet and security group is for instance. Right? So that is the difference, right? So by default, right, each VPC is associated with a default network ACL. So that default ACL, right? The default network ACL allows all inbound or outbound traffic at the subnet level. Custom network ACL can also be created, and that can be reusable also, because you remember security group rule we can create, and we can use it for another instance also, right? If it is making sense, we had discussed. So we can create one security group and can use for multiple instances if the use case is similar. However, you can separate as well. So here also you can create one network ACL and you can attach, right, with one subnet. So you create one network ACL, you attach to one subnet, or attach to two subnets, or attach to three subnets. That is also possible. Okay. So what happens? So network traffic, whatever traffic comes, so traffic comes through network ACL. Then it reaches the security group. So here only if something is blocked, will it reach security group?
No.
No.
Correct. So this is important. So this is more important because this is at bigger level, at subnet level, right? And routing is even more important, because if you don't give route only, right, there will be more control. Correct? So as we discussed, security group is at the instance level, whereas network ACL is at the which level?
Subnet level.
Subnet level. Perfect. So here only if we deny, say like whatever we have some EC2 instance and we just want to deny, say like port number 22, and we want to allow only for, say like coming from a particular IP, right? Say like from my IP, you just, or my VPN IP, you just allow it, right? This one did reach, so this one can reach. So if I just give the permission that it should come from my IP, then it can getting it. Now security group can deny, you have say like EC2, right? Now security group, right, say like may allow this instance, may not allow this instance. So here it will be based on some port number will be defined, and that port number will be blocked here. So similarly, how you can put rule regulations in NACL for subnet level, here you can do it for instance level. So the most important thing here in the security group is, by default, everything is allowed or denied.
Is allowed.
Then your no network will be compromised. So by default, everything is denied. So that is the power of security group firewall. See, everything is denied only. If you want, is explicitly mentioned, because say like if you don't create a security group, were you able to access your EC2 instance?
No.
If you were giving some wrong IP or something, your IP was changing, you were not able to access also. So
Yeah.
by default, you have no access. However, if you explicitly give access, then you can access it. That's it. So that is important, right? So here you need to define initially for NACL you have to define the port, then for the security group you have to define the port, right? So what we have discussed so far from the security, from the networking point of view, right? What is the first line of defense, if I ask? From the networking point of view, what is the first line of defense?
The firewall?
No.
NACL.
No, routing table.
Routing.
Okay.
So you don't give any route for any public network or something 00, you don't give. That's it. Impossible. Nobody can come only. Now, if you give some rule regulation, then you need NACL. Correct?
Okay.
Yes.
So nothing will come. Traffic only not allowed. So where traffic is allowed to go, that can be whitelisted, right? Where it is not listed, that means it is not allowed, right? So in concept of routing, wherever you wish traffic should be allowed, you need to whitelist it. If it is not whitelisted, no traffic is allowed. So first line of defense. Then you have network ACL, right? A firewall at the subnet level. So after this you have network ACL, some people call it NACL. So you have NACL at subnet level, right? And then you have security group at instance level.
Instance level.
Yeah. Now there is a firewall for instances and for maybe database. Okay. Now with this, we have another concept which is called DNS.
Domain names.
Anybody heard about DNS? Domain name?
Domain name server.
Yeah. Domain name system. Somewhere you will see domain name server, somewhere you will see domain name service, somewhere you will see domain name system. So this is what I understand, and this is what I give more value to, right? So let's call it domain name system. Okay, because many times we say DNS service, DNS service. If service is here, then it will become domain name service service. So let it be domain name system, right? So this domain name system, how it works? Any idea? Anybody? Urvashi, you heard about it?
It changes IP address to URL or something.
No, opposite. Just logically, you have to think. Say like you do Google.com, right?
Okay.
You
URL
to IP, right?
Address.
Yeah. So from there to this. So means this is name and this is number. So name to number. So the concept here is it's difficult for human beings to remember the numbers, but these machines, they are good at numbers, correct? So there is fundamental difference between how machine operates and how human beings operate, right?
Yes.
So we remember names more, and these machines work with only zeros and ones, right? So just think of IP address. You know what is IP address, right, Urvashi? IP address.
Yes.
What is that?
Sorry?
IP address. So IP address is what? One device has to communicate with another device, right?
Device.
Say like your phone is there, right? It has to communicate with another phone, or your phone has to communicate with this Zoom app. You are using that to connect. So there will be one number, there will be one IP address associated. That number is called IP address, right? So that number which is required for communication from between one device to another device is called IP address, right? So one machine requires the IP address of another machine so that it can find the another machine on the internet. Right? Now, as it is difficult for us, that's why, right? So you heard about that telephone directory, right? Have you used telephone directory? Nowadays, nobody uses.
We have used
Yeah, earlier this landline only used to be there. So we used to have telephone subscriber. In that telephone directory, you have telephone subscriber, and you have the telephone number mentioned. Like this is the name of the person, and address also used to be there sometimes, and then telephone number. So one-to-one mapping would be there. So similarly for DNS, what happens is you will have select some name. That is like you might have heard about FQDN, and then you have IP address. So this FQDN is fully qualified domain name. You might be seeing like www.google.com, right? Or something like that. So that's a fully qualified domain name.
domain name.
So based on that domain name, you just enter the domain name and it will give you the IP address. It will give the IP address to the machine. That machine will utilize it to reach to the particular server. Right? Wherever this is hosted, wherever this google.com is hosted, it will reach there. Right? It will get the IP address to you. Your browser will be able to connect to that. So DNS will act in between. It will go and find out the exact number, exact IP address. So there are certain records, right? So whatever we were seeing, that name is there and IP address is there, right? So name is say like google.com, and say like IP address is something like 172.117.166. Say like 69. So some IP address is there. So this is called a record. So there are various records in DNS. A record means name to IP address. Okay? A record means hello.
Yes, Harish. Name to
IP address. So name resolution will happen from name to IP address, and there is something like CNAME record. What is CNAME record? It is alias record. So it will be CNAME means C for canonical, right? So canonical record, CNAME record, canonical name record will have alias record. So one domain name will be there, and then another domain name will be there, right? Domain 1 and domain 2. Now this domain name will be mapped to another domain name. So name to name mapping, that is called alias record. Say like you created a very big name dot xyz dot 325 dot something. If you create something big name or something you may not remember, right? So for that reason also you can create another alias name, right? Sometimes you have something like, you can try that NSLOOKUP command, you can try whenever you get a chance. You try NSLOOKUP command and go to command line mode, CMD, and then you can try NSLOOKUP. So in NSLOOKUP you can mention NSLOOKUP google.com and it will work for you. And then maybe you can mention sometimes -q equal to cname here in this gap. Then it will give you cname record if it is there. You try for mail.yahoo.com. Okay. Quickly try to finish as much as possible.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So we'll be back at 2:25 then.
Yeah, let's come back by 2:25. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.